Okay, so you may have noticed the difference that I've got everything reassembled again, and except for the hood. I didn't get the hood reassembled. I'm going to leave that off because I still got to service the lawnmower, and I've just ordered the oil filter, air filter, all that stuff. I'm not sure the oil filter needed oil, but it came, or needed ordered, but it came in a package. And since the air filter seemed pretty unique, I just ordered the entire kit. But I got the carburetor changed out. I got a new one. I did not record this on my other channel. I'm still trying to feel out my new channel. You know, I don't want to get into a lot. I mean, I did a grasshopper. I worked on a grasshopper, and I want to see how that one does before I start doing a lot of unique work. I mean, how many old people own a 1983 John Deere? Probably not a lot, and they're not going to watch that video very much. And I think I should just stick to the more modern day stuff. Let's see if we'll get this started. It's been a couple hours since I got it done, so I want to check to make sure that everything's still working. It's a little finicky. You really got to know how to work that choke. I mean, the instant it pops off, the instant you got to push that choke in, otherwise it won't start. So it's you got to be quick. And the battery's weak. I think that's the biggest problem, is once you get it to pop off and you don't get that choke fast enough, then you got the cylinder flooded, and then that battery just can't turn it. As you can see, I've tested the tires to see if they had leaks in them, and they do. The front tires do. So I'm going to put inner tubes in it. I called him. He said, and I told him about the battery. He said, "Well, don't worry about the battery. I got something around here." So you got a little bit more work to do. Change the oil, but that one will be out of here soon. Kind of waiting for the rain to die off, and then I'll put my tools away. And let's see. This is Friday, so Monday the belt will be on this one. We'll get that one going. Get it back. I just noticed I completely redid the entire fuel system. All new, let's see, intake. I didn't replace the carburetor, but fuel line, drained all that old watered down gas. And he said, "Hey, the belt fell off. Can you fix it?" So I brought it back. And I checked the gas today, and he has poured bad gas back into it. So I messaged him, told him he's going to have to replace that gas. And of course he said, "Well, that's fresh gas." They always say that. It's always fresh gas. I don't know what they mean by fresh, but that's not fresh gas. So, and then I'll get that delivered, and then I'll just go down the road from him and pick up another lawnmower. It needs a belt and inner tubes, and we'll get that one back. And I should be able to do that one that day. So Monday, get that one finished, get it returned, get the other one back, get it done. I have the parts for that one. And then get it back. And Tuesday, the parts will be here for this one, and we can get this one going. This one's going to be expensive. I don't entirely agree that, I mean, it's not my money. So if he wants to spend his money, that's completely up to him. And I'm not going to tell him one way or another whether he should spend it or not. But I've got 4 hours into it just on the carburetor. I had to take the whole thing apart. And then the tune-up. So, I mean, we got $60 in parts just on the tune-up and the carburetor. And then we got another $25, I think, in inner tubes. So what are we at? Probably close to $100 because I put in a fuel shut off, put in new hoses, So, you know, all that adds up. I've used a ton of gas trying to flush out his system. I mean, it was just so bad. So I would flush it out, or I drain it out, pour gas in it, drain it out again, pour more gas in it. I did that 3 or 4 times. I bet I've used 2 gallons of gas. So, you know, that's another, what, $5, $6, you know, somewhere around there. So I just don't know if it's worth spending that much money on a 42-year-old lawnmower. I'm proud that I was able to fix it. I mean, I'm really on cloud 9 today that worked. But I don't know. And then the thing is when I went to start it, I had the spark plug on the other side disconnected. I just forgot to put it back. I got this side connected and it wouldn't start. Well, that has me concerned a lot. The 1 cylinder still should have started. It would have been a loss of power, but it should have started. So it didn't. So when I realized the spark plug wire was off, I put the spark plug back in and it started after I got it unflooded, because now it's completely flooded. I got it started, and then I disconnected the spark plug wire that I just put on that I forgot, and it ran. So I'm worried there is a compression issue on this side, lack of compression. So there may be a power loss in that. So I just don't know if it's worth spending that much money on an old tractor. Don't get me wrong, it is really cool. And somebody commented last night that they had a 318. It does. It has all the stuff. You can put a plow on it and a tiller, and it's got I guess the cast iron transmission. You know, they made them tough back then. I agree. You know, I said this the other day. People tell me all the time in the comment section, and I watch videos all the time, the new stuff is junk. It's just junk. And as a mechanic, I don't see it. As a mechanic, I think they're fine. Easy to work on, parts are cheap. So I just don't see how it's complete junk. If you're talking about the ability of today's lawnmower, yeah, today's lawnmowers, they don't have the ability the old wheel horse had and this thing has. You know, they weren't designed to, or today's mowers are not designed to do garden work. And that was kind of the thing, you know, the big deal back then. And I think wheel horse is the one that really kind of promoted this. I've studied the history of it a little bit, not extensively, but wheel horse kind of got started trying to get people where they could do gardening and, you know, a bunch of stuff, because people wanted to move out of the suburbs and, you know, out into the country a little bit. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, more like 50s and 60s. And so everybody was buying the wheel horse. Well, you know, as the country got more suburban, people just got away from it. People don't garden as much, and they don't have the big tractors and lawnmowers and all that. And so I don't think that today's lawnmowers need to have the toughness that these old lawnmowers have. And the thing is they do sell these higher end lawnmowers or garden tractors. I mean, the Beast is a garden tractor. It has a plow. You can get a plow for it, and special hitch. It pulls 1,500 pounds. I mean, so that was 30 years ago, and they still make them. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, I was looking at Cub Cadet, and I was thinking about possibly buying a garden tractor. Ended up getting into an apartment. And see, we were going to go out into the country and we're going to do all that stuff, but the thing is you may remember, some of you may remember, I had the John Deere, and I took a tiller, an old tiller, and I put a chain in between the John Deere and the tiller, and I was just pulling that tiller around, kind of using it as a tiller from the lawnmower, and it worked great. I've done that in the past. It works great. So I don't know if you really need a lot of cast iron and steel and all that stuff. And the thing is back then the horsepower wasn't as much. I mean, today's horsepower is fantastic, and the reason you may not know this, the reason they decided that horsepower is more important than torque is because of the rings. You may remember back in the old days, rings wore out so fast. And what it is with torque, so you have the RPMs lower. With torque, those rings have to spread out more because you're having to use more force to pull that torque around. Whereas today, they decided RPMs produce, they can get more life out of the rings with more RPMs. So you get more horsepower, more RPMs, let's just put it that way. And I see a lot of people running those RPMs down because they think, because back in the old days you didn't run the RPMs up, but today you have to. In order to get the horsepower that it states on it, you have to get those RPMs up or you're going to wear out the rings and the cylinders. Back then, it was such a problem. Wheel Horse, I think, had the ability to actually remove the cylinder and put a new one in, if I recall. So, but I will say, these things are just terrible to work on. They're so hard to work on. 4 hours. Think about this. 4 hours to change out a carburetor. Taking out all the shrouds and the muffler and the PTO. All that had to come off. The deck belt had to come off, or removed from the PTO, just to get to the carburetor. Insane. But I've got a video that's going to be released soon on a newer lawnmower. Change carburetor in 11 minutes. That's how long it should take. 11 minutes. But back to, I don't know if it's worth it. So here's the thing. First of all, I don't think this guy understands mechanics enough. I'm not trying to be rude to the guy. That's not what I'm saying. If you don't know that you need to remove your gasoline from the carburetor before you store it for the winter, you probably shouldn't own this. Parts are way too hard to come by. I looked up a bunch of parts, like the intake manifold today. They don't sell them. There's nothing out there for this. They have a gasket set. This has a leaking seal. I think it's a seal. It could be something else. It might be just the oil filter's loose. I don't know. But anyway, there's something leaking on it. If it's the seal, it's $43 to get a new seal. $43. You can buy a seal for a Briggs & Stratton now. 10 bucks. So this is just horribly expensive. So if you're into refurbishing old lawnmowers and that's kind of your thing, and you weren't going to be using it such, like cutting grass, but more taking out to garden tractor shows, or even going out to garden tractor pools. They have these pools, and you painted it up and made it all nice, stripped it all down, took it all apart and cleaned it up. That would be perfect for some guy's hobby. That would be perfect. But to just run it as a lawnmower, the repair costs on this is just too high. You don't take a 1970, let's think of a fancier car back, a Dodge Charger. Let's talk 1960 something Dodge Charger. You don't take it to the local dealership to get it serviced or fixed or repaired. They just wouldn't do it. You got to take it to someone special in that. And trying to find parts is going to be a nightmare. And you're going to junkyards. I don't even know if they still have junkyards, to be honest. I guess they do. But would they have that old of a car? I don't know. Well, the same thing applies here. The only way you could really do this is if you had two of these, and one of them was a parts mower. Because there's just no parts. It's and what you do is just terribly expensive. $30. I think it was $35 for that carburetor, but you can get a carburetor for my John Deere for 15 bucks. So it's double the price for the carburetor, and not even double the labor. It's 4 times the labor to get that off. I would like to have it, but I would not use it as a lawnmower. I would just do it to be, as a hobby. I'd probably end up selling is probably what I would do. But it would be something that I would want to do as a hobby. It runs, but like I said, the tires, they're both going flat. It just needs a lot of work. I don't know if it's worth it. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video over my other channel. So if I can inspire you to get it fixed so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.